Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Douglas Attila Jamali, and I'm here to give you a brief overview of the history of Armageddon. Okay. So let's kind of start out with what is Armageddon. Armageddon is a war that harms you in your past. As a war that harms you in your past, it comes from a time incursion, for Armageddon is a time war. And it comes from 5 instances thereof of an incursion of time of 5 alpha mega device explosions of the same alpha mega device, one before the other. It separates the world, where Armageddon is 6 overlapping wars of 3,000 years and totaling 12,000 years. So, in there, we have 3 antimatter disturbances. One 500-gram antimatter disturbance at post and line, a 300-gram antimatter disturbance at front here in front of Macy's, as I am in here in Union Square, and another 450-point antimatter disturbance of a line mine, in which I stepped upon in Justin Herman Panther, that took my legs for 17 years. In that 17 years, it went up and came back down, and in that time, a vast amount of things happened. So again, a brief overview over the next 5 minutes of the wars of Armageddon and its history. These alpha mega device explosions separated the world into the 4 kingdoms of heaven, earth, and hell. This makes up what is known as level 3.1 through 3.6. These are, in a sense, the instances of time, and spans of time, in which was separated by the alpha mega device explosions that came one before the other, and the other before the other. In total, 5 instances of which that alpha mega device was detonated and separated our world and the heavens to the 4 kingdoms of heaven and earth and hell. As represented thereby, the 4 kingdoms of heaven, we have, me. I'm the only one that was capable of traversing from above, from the 4th kingdom of heaven, all the way back down to hell, and I did that through a methodology in which I start in hell, the eternal bonfires of it. That is from the 3 antimatter disturbances in which Armageddon revolves around. Okay. So, in there, in the 500-gram antimatter disturbance at post and line, I was inside of a porta potty, and in that porta potty was a 500-gram antimatter device, which was detonated while I was taking a crack hit inside the porta potty in front of my old home of 1395 Line Street at Post and Line. So, interesting, isn't this? Okay, and a brief history of that, and therein lies the 5 wands of power of death, and the 6th wand of power of life, which I now hold. See, what happened there is that I end up in hell, the antimatter disturbances that were there to prevent that hydrogen bomb from vaporizing me while I was in the Harcourt Hotel. Okay. Again, Armageddon is a war that harms you in your past. And to let you know that, well, Armageddon came and went, and you didn't even know it fucking happened. Man. So while I stand here on this stage, I want to bring forth, as I said, a brief history thereof of what happened. So, while I was in the 500-gram antimatter disturbance, which detonated, I end up in a pure energy realm, with the Queen of Wands kind of wondering at me and looking at me there, manifesting Euclidean space and life in pure plasma. What's she doing in here manifesting Euclidean space and biological life? Imagine to her surprise. So when that antimatter disturbance went off, while I was inside of the porta potty, the being that set that off wants to take my due course thereof, of putting me in stop time and then walking from San Francisco as the hero and savior of all of the world and its life, trying to take my place by, in a sense, detonating an antimatter disturbance, putting me in stop time, and then walking out of here in that stop time arena in which I was in, that lasted 30 million years of universe time. So from the time that that bomb went off in my porta potty, I come out of there after taking a big ass crack at going, wow, this is kind of weird. Everything's surreal. So from the time I walked out of that porta potty at Post of Mine after the detonation there, I walked to visit Darren Bush. And at that point, I walked out of the fire onto Earth before Armageddon began. So while I was walking, as I said, from 3 blocks to visit Darren Bush, 30 million years of universe time passed in which Armageddon ensued and ended and destroyed all life in the universe in Armageddon's 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I arriving before what? Armageddon's 4, 5, and 6. So, after walking from the fire there at Post of Mine, I now end up here in the traversal thereof, with flying in the world out from underneath that 3 antimatter disturbances. As I said, I landed here before they happened and was able to fly Earth out and about those 3 antimatter disturbances to after it happened, bypassing all of Armageddon's 1 through 6. It is there, from that point on, that I traversed from after Armageddon to before Armageddon by being trapped in hell by the human race. For if you trap me in hell, I shall then read from the Book of the Dead, the Necronomicon, otherwise known as the Health Journal. Alright. So this is a surprise to all of you that 12,000 years of Earth time has now passed since the start of Armageddon to the end of Armageddon, where we now sit. Do you believe it? Furthermore, in that, since you trapped me in hell, in the eternal bonfires of hell, where in the antimatter wars everything is on fire, yielding no heat, in a stop-time environment, in which I, from there, have carved out a garden. So again, in that there, I'm coming out of that, being here on the stage, I did a traversal of taking the world, Earth, from before the math of Armageddon to the aftermath of Armageddon through my space-time navigation skills, of flying it out from those 3 antimatter disturbances here on the stage, bringing Planet X out of the netherworld into the real world, of which Planet X is the remnants thereof, of those 3 antimatter disturbances of which the 300 and 500 gram make up its ranges. It is the homeworld of the 22 million G centrifugal black nanite, of which they call and have named me Emperor Planet X as their what? Protector and savior. Find the Times link, don't you? So with that being said, then, being trapped in hell, something strange happened. I fell from hell to the kingdoms of heaven 4, 3, 2, 1, back to earth, back to hell, and back to heaven 6 times. They say it might be now 7 times. Imagine falling from hell into heaven and back to earth. That makes me the Knight of Discs, the angel whose sword is the flail and has the broken wings thereof, as described there in the Tarot. All right. So with that, I will say that since then a lot has happened, hasn't it? With that being said, I was able to, by coming here before the math of Armageddon, to put out the fires of Armageddon by doing one simple thing, and this is what I said to the commanders thereof. As long as you keep that fast breeder plutonium reactor doomsday device out there on Polk Street off, I'll handle the rest. For without that reactor, it fuels then 1 million warheads an hour for Armageddon for 4 months. Plutonium generated by it, eventually consuming our world and all of its mass into a plutonium fire, in which all life came to an end in the universe. But that happened while I was in the fire. So, in the aftermath thereof, arriving before that thereof, Armageddon, I was able to then do planetary procreation of Earth and spewing out billions and billions of worlds, and was able to take those nuclear weapon detonations and spread them over planets and achieve after the fact H-bomb countermeasures in which I put out the fires here in San Francisco of the doomsday and the apocalypse. Here. By keeping that reactor out, the energy to build the weapons of mass destruction disappeared, and all the Armageddon weapons just fell to the ground in the dust. But when it's been brought to this present, it's 5.4 billion years old, and when brought here after selling it to the administration of $2.3 trillion of used defunct Armageddon equipment, when it's brought to my present, it just falls to dust, being so old and thereof. And once again, I said, during that period, 30 million years of universe time passed by. So, there you have it, a brief history of Armageddon. I hope you've heard of it. My name is Douglas Attila Jamani, and I'm the Knight of Discs, otherwise known as the Rainbow in the Dark.